Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. And this time, the West Side just happens to be Dolphin Studio. So after the intro, we'll come back. We'll talk about, we'll talk about some good old Pali football stuff. So we'll talk about the El Camino game. We'll talk about the Rough Rider, the Rough Rider game that we just had on this past Friday, and we also have Coach Smith is going to hang out with us for a little bit as well. So after the intro, you got to promise to come on back and hang out with us because we got some good information that I'm sure you want to be fully aware of. So after the intro, come on back and we'll do it all over again. See you in a few.
Hey, win on me, win on three, ready, 1, 2, 3. Win! Oh, yeah! Stop playing with a P! 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 Stop playing with a P!
Some call it the gridiron.
Nice route, way to skim it.
Others, 100 yards of pain.
Too much.
We just like to call it football.
Football.
With Facebook James.
Football, baby.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the show. Welcome to This Week in Pali Football. This week is actually week 2. Week 2 of the football season, or we're moving into week 2, and we have a contest against Granada Hills Charter High School, also known as the Charter Bowl. So we'll talk to Coach and get you prepared and ready for that particular contest. And like I said a few moments ago, we're going to recap from the coach's perspective the El Camino game, and then definitely last week's game against the Roosevelt Rough Riders. And so before we hop into all that, just want to share some wonderful information with everyone as it relates to merch and where you can get your merch. So there's a couple of different places that you can get your merch. You can actually get your merch, your Pali football merch, at the stadium. That's right next to the Dolphin Den. There is several tables where you can buy Pali merch. I believe on Friday I saw some hats and I saw some caps. I saw some T-shirts. I even saw some pajamas. And so I know those are well-liked items that the students and the families of Pali football supporters, they also like to, buy those things as well to kind of show off their Pali football pride. But then also, if you really want to, invest in some good old Pali merch, you can go over to Press and Sew, which is featured right here, pressinsew.com /Pali football. And so there are several offerings that you can purchase. Looks like these are ladies Palisades football t-shirts, and you have the zip up hoodie that is over here. It looks nice and comfortable. So that's the front, and then that's the back. And then there's some blankets because it is going to get cold a little bit. For those of you who get chilly really, really quickly, these blankets over here, they have them in black and also in heather gray. And then there's an oversized plush blanket for you as well. And then there's also some beanies as well. So there are several offerings for you to get your Pali merch. And so go ahead and take advantage of that so that you can be in sync with everyone and just represent your Pali football team. And then also, I know that the Pali QB Club normally sends out an email once a week, just kind of outlining what's going on. And so that just look forward to that email. If you're a Pali parent, definitely we want you to be aware that the game is not Friday this week. It's not Friday night lights. It's Thursday night lights. And the reason why the schools are closed on Friday and Monday. And from what I understand, Friday's closure, it's due to admissions day. And so if you know what admissions day is, go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you don't, I'll tell you a little bit later if I can remember, but definitely admissions day on Friday. And then on Monday, we're celebrating Labor Day. So school is closed. So it's kind of like a 4-day weekend. You have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then the kids will return to school. And we'll see if coach is going to have practice on Monday for the boys. So we'll see. But yeah, so that's going down this coming Thursday. We'll play our third game in a row at the Stadium by the Sea against the Granada Hills Charter High School, also known as the Charter Bowl. So let's go ahead. And then the last thing for those of you who are really interested, if you're geeking out like me, you can also go over to maxpreps.com and you can sign up for a free account. That way you get to see some of the ins and outs, some of the stats, and check out how the boys are doing, how they're progressing during the season. This is a good way for me to kind of gauge just their progress. There are several ways that I kind of get my information. One is Max Preps. Also rely on Steve Galuzzo, who is a wonderful statistician. He tweets a lot of things, and so. But for me, this is kind of my place I go to each week, just so I can know what's going on with our team as well as some of the teams that are upcoming. And so go over to maxpreps.com and sign up for a free account. You can just make sure you follow Pali football if you do not have a son, nephew, brother on the football team. All right. Other than that, I think we're ready to go, man. We're ready to go. And it's always a privilege to have, a coach, a football coach, basketball coach, in this case, the coach of our varsity football team, Coach Dylan Smith. He's, he just sent him a text. He's like, hey, whatever you need, man, I'm there. And so we're going to bring him onto the show right now. So there he is. What's going on, Coach?
Good. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for joining us again. Appreciate you.
No problem. Sorry about that.
Okay, so check this out. 2 wins in a row, man. 2 wins in a row. We gotta, to start to start your legacy. How you feeling right now?
Feeling great. It's always good to get that first win out the way. We got it out early with some big wins. So the nervous level has gone down slightly, a little bit, but still want to grind and still want to get these kids ready each week.
Absolutely. And last week we had a couple of things going on, man. We had everyone was afraid of the hurricane hitting California, and specifically the Los Angeles, Southern California area. It did cause a little damage, not necessarily where I am, but in different places throughout the city. I know you called a Zoom meeting for Monday. Were you boys attentive and receptive to all the information that you were giving them about the upcoming game against Roosevelt?
Yeah, we had I think 100% attendance on Zoom. Kids had their cameras on. Some were taking notes. Some were asking questions. It was really good to get that film session in. Missing a day of on-field practice, so I think it really helped. We put in a lot of stuff in that they needed to see on film more so than run on the field. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise that we had that Zoom meeting because, Roman was able to see the different checks I wanted him to do this week. And, I think our game plan actually worked out perfectly.
Absolutely. No, your game plan for this week against the Rough Riders, was it worked. Whatever it was, 42-14 was the final score. And, with 3 days of practice, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I'm sure Thursday was just a walkthrough. So you really had 2 days to kind of prepare, your boys for that double wing tee. What did you see that was going to give you a problem as you were preparing for Roosevelt?
Give us a problem, or
What did you see was going to give you guys a problem as it relates to their offense, because they're one dimensional. So how did you kind of overcome their one dimensional offense that they run every Friday?
Oh yeah. So most times we don't. We really focused on the double wing. So what I mean is, during our team time, we took our first, second team, some of our scout team guys, and just went and plays over and over and over again. Usually we just kind of run our own stuff against our own defense and just kind of just go over our plays a little bit. But this time we really showed defense like what they're going to run, what each play is, what to look for, different pulls, schemes, stunts, whatever they're going to do. So we really focused about a half hour each day on just their plays. And the defense recognized it in the game, saw it. I ran the wing tee in high school, the double wing tee in high school. So I even went back to my days and remember a couple of plays and ran it just so they can see what they're going to come against. So it was really more of a focused week of practice, and we only had 2 days, so we really had to really tone it down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure your defense was ready for the Rough Riders. I mean, they had some. Despite the score, they did have some athletes. Man, I was surprised at their QB and just their ability to kind of get the ball and how they would hike the ball and then he kind of get the ball and kind of spin and dish it out, or sometimes he would keep it. But for the most part, our defensive side of the ball, they were right on point. Only allowing 14 points on Friday night.
Yeah, it's funny. We were joking today because the one score that they had was the one thing we weren't worried about was passing. So we really focus a lot on running, and they do a lot of misdirections. Trying to hide the ball and a lot of crisscrossing and pulling. So you can really get lost inside that, and everything is so compact. The defensive line can get lost with the ball. The linebackers can get lost. So the defense, they really did a great job of staying focused the whole game. And the other team ran close to 80 plays, I think. So that's really hard to do to whole game is on 80 plays focus on the offense like that. So the defense did a tremendous job.
Absolutely, hats off or helmets off to the defense. And even as I was trying to broadcast from the sidelines, there were several times where I'm like, okay, the ball looks like it's going this way. Nope, it's going that way.
Right.
And so
Right.
I know it's hard. If it was hard for me, I'm on the sidelines. I know it's probably the boys on the field had probably a much better advantage at looking at the ball in terms of which way. They really did a good job. And despite having I know one of my favorite players on the squad, number 14, Evan Nirenberg, he's out. But they did their thing. Saxon Wald, he came in and I called his name a couple of times. I heard Mr. Kalima, just calling guys out who are really running to the ball and trying to get that good stop.
Yeah, it was totally a collective effort, and Evans, obviously a big part of our defensive line and defense, and having him, obviously we were a little worried, but everybody stepped in and did their job, and there was definitely a team effort on defense this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as the game went on, I believe I even saw Big 77, Dylan. I think I saw him get in. I think it was a fourth. Was it a 4th and 1 or something?
Yeah, it was 4th and 1. He wasn't supposed to be in the game, so he kind of as hard as it is for him, he snuck into the game a little bit. And, but he made a good tackle, so I can't.
Yeah, no, he
mad,
was. Now, Coach, he's the biggest dude. He's the biggest dude on the team now. How did he sneak on the field?
I turned my head, and next thing I know, he's running on the field. It's too late to call him back. So
Absolutely.
I think he waited for me to look away. So.
Well, no, that was. I mean, there's been times when I've seen in my years at Pali, offensive player playing defense or defensive player, so it was good to see kind of that situation. And I think we were already up ahead, so we didn't have to worry about him getting injured or anything. But I think he was very hyped up. I think they even got the first down, but he was still. You know what? I'm gonna take that back. I'm not sure if they got the first down, but I know when he ran off the field, he was very, very hyped up and excited.
Yeah, they did get the first down, and my thing was we were already up. There was no reason for him to be out there. I know he wants to play defense, and it's always situations like that where when it's not necessary, bad things happen. So I always get paranoid about stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And he's definitely somebody we can't lose on the offensive line. So
yeah,
but he got his one shining moment, so he's happy.
Hey, you never know, Coach. That might be a secret weapon on the upcoming game. So you just have to keep him mentally prepared, man.
Right.
Him and Mr. McLean, you might have to work out something where he might be that secret middle, that nose guard right there up the middle. You never know.
Well, if he's listening, I'll tell him this: when we make it to the championship and we need him on defense, he has my permission to go in as much as he wants.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome right there. So let's, we talked a little bit about their offense, meaning the Rough Riders. Let's talk about a little bit about our boys, our team, and just their preparation. And this would probably be a good time to kind of talk about some of the starters. Now we're into week number, I got to count on my head, 0-1. This is week 2, game 3, right?
Right.
So let's kind of talk about some of our, you kind of got a good feel of who your starters are. So let's go ahead and start with the O-line, if we can, and give them a little pub right now. Just tell us who our starters are and maybe how important they are to the team.
Well, I mean, the offensive lines are playing lights out. Coach McLean might not think so because that's his group. But we haven't given up a sack all season, even 2 games. I don't believe we've had a holding call, which is really, that's unbelievable for 2 games. I could be wrong, but even still, the fact that I don't know, it's really says a lot about the O line. Not a lot of penalties, jumping off sides. So we've really been playing mistake-free football on the offensive line. And, I challenged the running backs, but also the O-line about the running game this week. We had, I think, 50-something total yards rushing, and this week we had over 100. So, they were blocking second level. I saw one play Dylan was up on the linebacker moving, and, Roston is really commanding the offense, and Alfonso at center. We got Cole at tackle. So, Josh Chinchilla comes and, fills in when we need to. So Liam jumped in from D-line, Giantonio from D-line to O-line, in like 2 weeks before, or maybe a week before our first game. He's really stepped in. So I'm just really proud of the whole O-line and the way they prepare. They practice hard. They hit the sled every day. And I can't say enough about the O-line and what Coach McLean's been doing with them.
Yeah. I kind of talked to Gio a little bit, because I was trying to look for him on defense. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, hey, Gio, you on offense? He's like, yeah, man. I was like, you like? He's like, he's like, yeah. So I mean, it's good to see when you guys are out there coaching and you see something that they might not see. So I know he was a defensive beast the last 2 years on JV. And so to flip him around on the opposite side of the ball, and for him to make a major contribution, is like, you guys are really, you see something that the player doesn't see. And so when they have success, they ultimately give the credit to you guys because, you kind of switched them from one side of the ball to the other.
And that's Coach McLean. He's the one that said, he came up to me after one practice and said, hey, what about Liam? Let's try him. And I said, whatever you want to do, let's try it. And ever since that day, he hasn't lost that spot. He came in at right guard and he hasn't looked back. So, credit to Coach McLean for seeing it and credit to Liam for stepping in and doing his job the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and talk about our QB, Mr. Roman, who made the numerical switch from number 6 to number 7. He I think last week against El Camino, he had over almost 230 yards. This week I think I saw something on Max Prep was like 180, 150, 160. So, a little bit of a drop, but you guys, ran a lot as well. But go ahead and talk about, Roman and just his contribution to the team.
Yeah, Roman's, he's progressed, each week. I've been challenging more about getting us out of bad plays. And I think, his running ability has always been there. He's always had a good arm, good accuracy, but I'm really trying to focus more on getting us out of a bad play, checking out of, from a run to a pass or vice versa, and really reading the defense. So, in camp he struggled a little bit, and even the week leading up to El Camino, he struggled. But, working on him each day and, each play, and the last week, he's really, progressed in that area. And I think even in the game on Friday, I think he checked out of 2 plays and we scored touchdowns on him. So he's really starting to learn the mental part of the game a lot. And once he gets that, he's going to be dangerous because he can run, he can pass, and now he's thinking the game a lot more. So it's going to be scary in the next couple of weeks when he really puts everything together.
Absolutely. No, he's definitely on point. And then it doesn't help to have like your best friend as a receiver, just the camaraderie between him and Braden. It's not like a relationship with T.O. and what's my man?
Romo.
Well, no. Well, see there. Oh, there you go. No, man. Oh, come on, man. I can't even think. The Eagles QB. I'm thinking.
Oh, McNabb. Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that kind of relationship. It's
No.
more of a friendly, kind of like that's my quarterback.
Right.
That Romo and
Right.
So kind of talk about your receiving core and just what they mean to the football team.
Hey, every receiver is a diva, but when I mean that, I mean they all want the ball, and to them, it's not coming off selfishly. I think they just all want to help the team, do good. Nobody's talking about my stats, and I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. It's just they all want to help the team in any way they can, and if they catch the ball, they want to score every time so we can win. And we have a lot of weapons, receiver-wise, on this team that can really help. So it's kind of unfair to most of them that they're not getting the ball thrown to them every time because we just have so many weapons. And I think the first game we had roaming through the 9 different receivers, which is almost unheard of. So it's in a good way because, we're sharing the ball. Defenses have to cover everybody. They can't just focus on one person. And to Roman's credit as well, all summer his target was Braden. That was who he was comfortable with. And he's really focused on spreading the ball around, and that first game against El Camino really showed. And even this past Friday, we only ran 18 plays before the last drive, so we didn't really get a chance to really, spread the ball around. So it was just crazy, only having 18 plays
Man.
the whole game. Yeah, we had 26 plays total, 2 were penalties, and so 8 of those plays were on the last drive. So 18 plays is, that's not enough to really spread the ball around.
Yeah.
But no, he's been, the receiving core has been good. They've been working hard. It's a little different from last year's offense, so they're still struggling on a few things, but they work hard every day. So I got to give them credit too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking at, and then, I'm going to call out Big 8, number 8, Jaden with the big one-handed catch. I haven't seen a catch like that at Pali in quite some time now. It was for 14 yards, but it was a big 14 yards.
No, it was. It moved the chain, and we scored the very next play. So
absolutely.
No, it was a huge catch, and he's one of those guys that comes up to me and says, "What can I do to get better? What can I do to get the ball? What can I do? How can I get open?" He's always asking questions, always trying to work and get hard. And Jaden, if you watch Jaden very closely, he's a great downfield blocker. So he's a very unselfish player. So I was happy to see him get that catch and him be happy and still work hard the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was saying on the broadcast, I work with his mom, and so I think Friday right after work, I saw her. I was like, she asked me, "Hey," she was like, "Hey, are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." I was like, "Is Jaden ready?" She was like, "I hope so," because he was dropped the pass last week. I was like, "Yeah." I saw his face at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But this game when he went up and got that reception, I mean, he his demeanor really changed.
Oh yeah,
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It was a good thing for him. Good confidence booster.
Absolutely, yeah. I think during the scrimmage, or I think it was scrimmage or maybe practice, he had dropped a wide open touchdown, and you get to see his head drop. So for him to go from that and see his face was glowing after that catch, and I was just happy. I was happy to see that for him.
Absolutely. And then you got, looks like Braden. We already know we know about Braden. Braden is, he's we talked about him a couple of weeks ago when he said, what can I do to be captain? He's just that guy. And I told him, in terms of social media, it's like, hey, dude, I'm gonna come to you on the sideline if I can get you to, say a little something on the camera. He's like, oh man, whatever you need, I got you. And so, he's that dude, and I'm grateful that him and Roman have that camaraderie on the field. And it's not like a no hard feelings kind of situation. It's like, look, whatever we can do to win, let's do it together. And so I kind of talk about their relationship during the broadcast, but it's just fun for him, for me to see him, going through what they went through last year, and then for him to kind of be, quote unquote, part of, being the man, and I think maybe being that number one receiver on the team. To your point, during the summertime, Roman was throwing mostly to him. And so just making sure that him and some of the other guys are involved in receiving, like Jaden, like Max, Terrell, I think it's going to be, very good going forward, especially once we get into league.
Yeah, definitely. And I even told him, I was like, if you spread the ball around, they're not going to be able to target your number one receiver. If you want to throw to Braden, spread it around, get that, then, Braden will come open.
Yeah.
And so I've been, obviously working with him on that too. And, they've all done a great job. And Braden's been a leader throughout the whole, for the whole group of receivers. He's on the field, telling what the receivers what to do, how to run the routes, and what play. If I call a play and they don't know it, he's there to help. And he's kind of the coach on the field. So he's been a huge help for the younger kids as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to save Terrell and Henry a little bit later when we talk about special teams. But, running the ball, we got, we could talk about Terrell and Harrison right now. Both of them are, your two main running backs on the team. Just talk about just their contribution so far and what you like and what you would like to see more out of them going further into the season.
I mean, as a coach, to have three, and Shiloh Beavers, freshman,
yeah, absolutely,
to have three solid running backs on the field that you can just rotate at any time and not miss a beat is like a coach's dream. If a player's tired, I can look back with confidence and say get in and not change the game plan. So it's I don't have to have a certain package for one running back or another one, or I have the same package for all three running backs, and if 1 week I want to go three backs, I can do it and not, miss a beat. So it's a big confidence booster for myself as a play caller to have those three in the backfield, and and they can all do it in the run and pass. If I can call a screen pass, I can put anybody back there. If I need to run a swing route, they all do it well. And the speed and power that Harrison has is, it's very special to watch. And he had that 53-yard run, and he looked like he was running slow, jogging, but he was just running past everybody. So,
right.
I have those guys. I have Harrison for another 2 years. I have Shiloh for another 3 years, and Terrell's coming back next year. So, next year's gonna be even more fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just looking at, Shiloh. And even when I was calling the game on Friday, I'm like, wait a minute, it has a freshman. I'm like, well, a freshman?
Right.
I'm like, how did that even happen, Coach?
I got lucky. His uncle transferred over from Westchester and brought him along. So,
okay.
I try to keep him over and try to keep him happy and keep him here at Pali, and it's been a blessing. So
absolutely. Harrison, he had a big season last year on JV, and I remember Coach Todd just saying, he's nothing but forward or upward for him. And so just, I'm just waiting for him to get into gear and, get those, hit those holes and, because he has a little speed. So, just waiting for him to get loose and, just do what he can do on the field.
Yeah, he missed some time. He's a track guy now, so he missed some time over the summer doing some track stuff, and then he came a little late. But I think this week he really started to get into football shape, mentally and physically. So he's just going to go up from here, and I can't wait to see it.
Absolutely. And then let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about the special teams, man. Let's go ahead and talk about some of my peoples, man. I was joking. I was joking on the live stream. So, Because after 8 years, I'm not having a kid on the football team, right? And so usually, my son does something, I'm like, that's my boy, right?
Right,
So
right,
that was, if Sir did something, that's my boy, right? Um, Side did something, if he ran a touchdown or interception, he running back, that's my boy.
right,
Saber did something, same thing, that's my boy.
right.
So when LaHenry opened the game and ran it back, I was like, that's not my, I was like, what did I say? I said something like, that's not my boy, that's my nephew.
Right.
But man, I mean, just him, and I call him the two-headed monster, number 15 and 16, Terrell and LaHenry, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's like pick your poison. If you kick the LaHenry, then okay, he might take it back, which he has done that, right? Several
Right.
times. I think the first game was a penalty, so it had to be called back. But
Yeah.
last week he took it all the way back. If you kick it to 15, you kick it to Terrell, it
Same
might
thing.
go back too.
Well, and Harrison had one that was called back Friday as well. So we got those three. So it's like you can't really kick it deep, and if you kick it short, Jabari it can threaten and take you to the house as well. So I mean, the special teams really it's been a bright spot for us, and to have those kind of weapons so you can just plug in anywhere, it helps the flow. It helps the offense, with field position and. And we even have keeping on special teams, even our punter who can boot the ball would help our defense, with their field position. So our special teams is really the heart and soul of our team right now.
Yeah, and I love Pally's had a long tradition of great kickers and punters. Kellen Ford, he's doing this thing. He's putting up the PATs, and the kickoff. He's right on point as well. So. The special teams offense is right on point. And I'm just hoping that they're going to continue for the rest of the season. We got eight more games, I believe, and actually 7, and then hopefully, well, not hopefully, we will make the playoffs, right?
Right.
It's just a matter of which division we're going to be in. So just expecting great things from the offensive side and special teams side of the ball.
Definitely.
Let's see what else want to get into. So we last week I kind of went online by myself and I kind of talked about just want to review a little bit El Camino, and then we're going to jump forward to the Charter Bowl. We'll talk about the defense maybe next week. Just some of those heavy hitters over there, give them another chance to prove themselves on the field. So we'll save them for next week. We just covered offense in our special team, so we'll save defense for next time. But El Camino, who usually has a pretty decent football squad, but something, I don't know, you guys just kind of put it on them, and I don't think they knew what was happening.
Yeah, I mean, we like I said, we had a game plan, and we stuck to it, and the kids executed it very well. We watched a lot of film and tried to see what we could exploit on their defense, and we ran the ball well, but not as well as I wanted to, and a lot of that was my fault with some of the play calls, and I really wanted to focus on Roosevelt week on really fine tuning the run game. But pass wise, we felt that they can keep up with our receivers. We felt that we could hit them short and quick, and run our tempo like we want to, and they wouldn't be able to keep up with us. So the kids, they ran our game plan to a T.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the stats from the first game, and yeah, you had Terrell who ran for 43, Harrison who ran for 13, and then Shiloh who was -1 last against El Camino. And so fast forward to last week, all of those guys, they increased, and even Roman. It looks like he had a -4 yards on rushing, but he did have a rushing touchdown. But to your point about them, your game plan and wanting them to do better this week, they surpassed, probably, maybe your expectations for what they can do this week. They did what they needed to do, and 29-0 against El Camino. That's pretty dope right there.
Yeah, that's very obviously a good start to our season, and honestly, against Roosevelt, we could have scored 70 points. we scored on every possession except the last drive of the game where we took a knee, but we were on, I think, 3 yard line. We could have, I believe, we could have scored there too. So, our offense is starting to catch up with our defense with timing and the chemistry there. So, Granada Hills runs a different defense this week, so we'll see how that goes and how we adjust to that, and take it from there.
Absolutely. So yeah, fast forward. You mentioned the magic word. It's the Charter Bowl, right? And we've won the Charter Bowl. I know Steve Galuzzo. He'll probably post something as it relates to how many we've won in the past. I think over the past at least 7 years, they've won. Actually, last year we did not play because of fire. Right? The game was canceled, and our squad was really, really upset. They really wanted to play the game, and in talking to Mr. Galuzzo, it could have been postponed, but it wasn't. The adults, I guess they just didn't make the proper decision. I remember one year when it was a similar situation where it was a fire. The game was postponed to that following Monday. That was our Venice game, which is a very big deal.
Right.
And so, maybe that game could have been pushed to a later time, but it wasn't. It didn't. We played in the championship game last year. We lost, and so I know the boys who were on that team last year, they're kind of licking their chops, and they want some payback, some retribution against the Highlanders this year.
Yeah, they've been talking, talking about we want our rings back, and so yeah, they're definitely ready to play, and they're super focused. Today we had a light practice, kind of like more of a mental practice today, and they were all focused, paying attention, and really listening to what the coaches had to say. So I think they're gonna be ready to play Thursday night.
Now, without giving too much of your game plan, because this is public, and you might have some spies later on checking out the show, right? What do you see is the big? I'll ask this question: what do you see is the biggest obstacle against Granada Hills?
They really put pressure on the quarterback. They really like to blitz a lot, so we have to be able to handle their blitz a little bit, and they like to bring a lot of. They stack the box, and they force you to throw bad passes and pressure you and make you speed up the game a little bit. So we just have to withstand their pressure and get the ball out of Roman's hands, and receivers have to make plays this week.
Absolutely, yeah. So many times we only focus in on their offense, right? So they kind of run a very similar offense to Roosevelt, the Rough Riders, and so I'm sure you guys kind of game prepped a little bit last week for that particular double wing tee, and I'm also certain that you guys have put things in place, really started the motion last week to help the guys understand their positioning on the field on defense as well.
Yeah, it was actually a good test it's a good scheduling that we did schedule Roosevelt before this game, because last week was really a big test for us going into this game. So it kind of gives us a head start on our preparation for Granada Hills. So we're not changing much. Obviously, a few tweaks here and there on defense, but we're not gonna change our whole defense for this team when they run similar stuff. So. Everybody that's going to the game will kind of see a similar style, offensive defense, our defense versus their offense.
Absolutely. No, it's going to be a wonderful contest. Pali supporters like me, we live for this kind of thing, and we just really want our boys to be out on top, especially after what happened last year. Not having the Charter Bowl because of fire, and then of course the championship game. So, it's going to be a wonderful contest. It's going to be nice and cool, and hopefully to cool a little bit down, because I know this week, well, today and tomorrow is supposed to be the major hot days of the week until Thursday. Hopefully it'll be nice and cool like it was last week against the Rough Riders.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. That's another reason why I kind of gave them a mental day, so they weren't exhausted, and we've had a few players sick this week, and just kind of wanted to heal up a little bit because it's a huge game, and I don't want any setbacks or any excuses on why we didn't do this or do that. So I want everybody fully healthy going into the game, and hopefully we can come out fully healthy after the game.
Absolutely. Now, interesting note for those of you who are watching, the game is this Thursday. JV hits the field at 4 o'clock, and varsity hits the field at 7 o'clock as well. Now, since this is the Charter Bowl, is there, some of the teams have like an ice out day, and I think I even saw on the Pallygram something about last week's game was wear blue. Is there a particular theme for this particular game this Thursday?
School wise, I'm not sure, but I know we're wearing all black uniforms this week. Yeah, so if everybody wants to come in all black and have a blackout Thursday, let's do it. So our players will be in all black, and so hopefully, if everybody wears all black, give us some kind of advantage. We'll see.
Absolutely. No, that's what's up. I'm gonna have to figure out something black that I can that I can wear, because right now I'm wearing orange, which is far away from the Pali blue that I'm usually wearing.
At least it's not green, so we're all right.
Absolutely. Well, I do have some green in the background, but that's because football is green, right? And
that's true. That's true.
I try to tighten the colors, football and Pali. So yeah, but not because of Granada Hills, but just because of the green on the football field. All right, Coach. Any other thing that you want to leave us with before? I think we're almost. Let me see where we are in terms of time. We're right at 44 minutes, so good timing. Any last words you want to say for this week, and as we look forward to the Charter Bowl?
No, it's going to be an exciting game. Obviously it's a rematch of last year's championship game, and our kids are hungry, and I know they're going to be ready to play. They're going to come here try to get that trophy back. So it's kind of a redemption for them, wanting to get that trophy back from us, and then we want to obviously redeem ourselves from the rings they took from us. So it's going to be an exciting game. I know it's Thursday, but hopefully everybody can come out. There's no school the next day, so it'll feel like a Friday night. So
absolutely,
and wear your black as well.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we appreciate it, man. Hang tight in the green room real quick. We're just going to close out. I just want to make sure people know where to find us on Thursday. I know we had some technical difficulties, so let me go ahead and hang out in the green room, and I'll finish up the show, and then we'll come back and talk in a few moments, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Hey, not a problem. All right, so there you have it. Coach Dylan Smith, varsity head coach, just talking about El Camino, talking about the Rough Riders, and then, talking about the upcoming contest against Granada Hills, the Highlanders, and so what we call the annual Charter Bowl. So just a wonderful, wonderful 3 weeks of football, and hopefully it will continue, that the team will continue to be successful as we go through this season. So let me just clear some things up if you're watching. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yes, we can. Okay, so I know we made the transition from Facebook over to YouTube, okay? And I thought it would be a little bit easier for folks to tap in and be able to watch the game, right? And so I know a lot of people don't have access to YouTube, but more people, didn't have or don't have access to Facebook, but a lot more people are able to access YouTube. So that's one reason why we made the change. Plus, again, it's easier for me in post-production to kind of upload and, have folks go over to YouTube and find the content over there. Which is amazing because, on Saturday morning when I wake up, I see the boys have already clipped out some of their favorite parts of the broadcast for their own use, which is cool. I have no problem with that. So here's the situation. Let me go over here to first half. So I already have the live stream set up. Okay. So what you can do, what I encourage you to do is to go ahead and run over. If you haven't done so already, go over to This Week in Pali Football, the YouTube page. Okay. This Week in Pali Football. Go over and subscribe. Okay. Now, being a subscriber, you can leave a comment, but you will also be notified when we are live. Okay. Now, but here's what happens, and I'm gonna have to test this out. When I schedule it already on my computer here at home, and then when I go live using my mobile device, for whatever reason, it comes up as a private link, which people are unable to access unless you're a subscriber. So to kind of get around that, why don't you go ahead and just subscribe, and then that way you'll be notified. But I'm gonna try to work out the kinks and see if there's something that I can do to make sure that the broadcast is public instead of private. I think I saw a couple of comments on last week's broadcast, like, hey, can you make it private? Well, I'm gonna look into that thing. But in the meantime, and in between time, go ahead and just subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you will know when we go live, and then you won't have to worry about the broadcast being private to you. Okay. But I'm gonna try to test it and try to work out the kinks so that we make sure that we are live publicly. Okay. And so that way, when we share the link on YouTube, on Facebook, all you have to do is click on it, and you can see all the good content that we are producing each half. So this is the first half link, and there's also one for the second half as well. So hopefully that'll kind of clear some things up so everyone can access the broadcast without having any problems. We definitely don't want to leave anyone out. We want aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, nephews, cousins, grandmas, grandpas to watch from wherever they're watching, in whatever time zone they're watching the game. So, we do this as a courtesy because I love Pali football, been a long time Pali supporter, Pali parent, Pali football parent. And so I'm going to be around for two more years this season. Next season, my daughter, she's still on the cheer squad. So why not? Why not be a part of Pali football? And then again, my nephew, who's only a sophomore. Yeah. So, if I'm lucky, I'll be around for 3 more years at least. Okay. All right. With that being said, I appreciate you guys watching. It's been a wonderful show. We thank you again to Coach Dylan Coach Smith for hopping on and being a part of the broadcast and just kind of giving us an insight to what they do in the coaches' room, in the coaches' arena on the football field as they prepare for our football games with the boys. All right. So I'm done. Finito. Thank you for watching. This is Mr. Riley signing off from, let me say this one last thing. The opening and closing. Hopefully next week I am going to have an updated opening intro. So we got some more past players on there. That was done in 2019. I've been taking some footage, and we're going to compose a brand new opening. So if you want to see that, you got to come back here next week, and hopefully this will be the last time you see this intro that I also use for the outro. All right, Mr. Riley signing off from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. And tonight, the West Side just happens to be the Dolphin Studio. Take care, and we'll see you on Thursday. Stadium by the Sea, JV 4 o'clock, varsity at 7. Thanks for watching, and go Pally.
Hey, win on me, win on 3, ready, 1, 2, 3. Win! Oh, yeah! Stop playing with a P! Stop playing with a P! Stop playing with a P!